Hello. Today I'd like to talk about a short but very important topic in the Bible, and that is the salt of the earth. A lot of times Jesus referred to his disciples as salt and light. We're called to improve, influence, and make the world a better place. He also says disciples of his that don't follow his teachings are like unsalted salt. Now, that sentiment is echoed in Mark 5, where he says, "You are the salt of the earth." But if salt loses its savor, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything. What's interesting about the Greek root of salt, that word can even be described as wisdom and grace exhibited in speech. And this is talked about in Colossians 4, where he says, "Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, so that you will know how to respond to each person." Now, salt can be used for many different things. First, it can keep food from decay, from putrefaction, preserving it, keeping it unchanged. But it can also add flavor to anything that it touches. Interestingly enough, it was even used for clearing the roads at the time. It pulls out the subtle flavors in a food, and even is used for medicinal value. It had soothing properties. It was so valuable back when Jesus was walking the earth that sometimes Roman soldiers were even paid in salt. It's really neat to think about, but the reality is that when we speak with salt, with seasoned speech, it is like Christ and the Holy Spirit is permeating our words in a way that make us an example to set us apart from the rest of the world. We are a called out group. That's literally what the word church, coming from the Greek ekklesia, means. A called out group, or a called out assembly. We are supposed to stand out from the world. It's really neat to think about, because we, as believers, we can glorify God in all we do if we focus on not only letting others see Christ in us, but making sure our words are a good representation of Him. It's kind of sad, but a lot of people don't give any thoughts to Christianity, or even they're kind of hurt by it, because a lot of times professing Christians aren't walking out the principles of what Jesus taught. It's really sad. Even Gandhi made the statement, if it weren't for Christians, I'd be a Christian. And that's tough. A lot of times we need to watch what we say. We need to be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen, so that others can see Christ in us, and we can fill the Great Commission by going out, speaking the gospel, showing His love, and reaching people for Him, and making heaven that much more a better place. If you care about people in your life, it would behoove you to look at what Jesus taught, because all of His teachings, they're so incredible, and they have such a moral base that anyone who really looks at them and really takes the time to study would acknowledge that He taught some amazing things. We're supposed to be the representation of Him on this earth. We are made in His image and in His likeness. Image, you understand. Likeness, in the way He operates. That's what that means. So, I had a problem with this in the past. Admittedly, I came hard at a lot of subjects. I let sometimes pride and let sometimes what I believe to be righteous anger take over in spots when really I was just trying to puff my chest out. But that's not how the Christian walk is. And when you go through the refiner's fire and Christ is burning off those impurities off you, people are able to see Christ more in you. It's interesting about the refiner's fire, a little side note. When a blacksmith or a silversmith is putting his tools in the fire, let's say he's making a sword, putting it in the fire to burn off all the impurities. Well, The more we burn off those impurities, the more we look like Christ, which becomes a better example and a better witness and testimony to his love. So when that silversmith is putting that sword in the fire, you know how he knows when it's done? It's when he can look at that sword and see himself in it. It's the same way with us and the refiner's fire, and it ties in with salt. So, the more we dedicate ourselves to surrendering to his will for our life, leading us down a path that will only lead to good things and away from all the issues of this world that we're struggling with, we look more like him, we talk more like him, and people can see him in us. Let me just say this. Salt is very common, but if it remains on the shelf, it's no good. Salt is no good unless it comes out of the shaker. So, this ties into the Great Commission as well. When we season our speech with salt and we add flavor to everything we do, pointing to Christ, it not only builds treasures in heaven, but it lets other people see the love of Jesus the way it was always supposed to be seen. And it helps lead people to a much more beautiful path in life. Have a great day.